Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is another easy and fast money making method, this time using the Toyota Supra from 1988. This is probably the Toyota Supra that's probably been sat in your garage ever since you did the Supra cafe menu way back when, probably for most of us, or around when the game first released. I know I did, and mine has been sat in the garage for so long until recently when I did my GT1 video. And I had a bit of a thought, let's go ahead and try and grind some money with it. So the livery we're using here is obviously a Gran Turismo 1 Racing Modifications throwback. It's not exact, but it's as close as you can really get it within Gran Turismo 7. So the livery creator is Blue Racer, or Randy4824. So go ahead, if you do see this livery, go ahead and give him a follow and just give him some love because, well, he came up with this awesome livery. So these are the parts you're going to need. You will need to wide body this car, and then go ahead and we'll check the wheels that we are running. This one obviously comes with delivery, so they are kind of made a bit bigger as well and a little bit wider. So we're running the Enki Racing RP03 Type RC wheels, but like I said, if you do throw that livery on, then you will go ahead and obviously not need to do anything like that. We are running Type A body modifications at the front. At the side we are also running Type A, and then at the rear we are again running Type A. For the wing, we're running a custom wing set, which is a low wing with Type 25 end plates. Again, if you get the livery, all of this will be on. These parts you'll have to put on yourself though. So from sports, it's weight reduction stage 1. Comfort soft tyres, they come on as standard, so ignore those. From club sport, it's bore up, high lift camshaft, and then down here it's weight reduction stage 2. From semi racing, it is the racing crankshaft, the fully customizable computer, high RPM turbocharger, fully customizable LSD, and weight reduction stage 3. From racing, it is stroke up, engine balance tuning, polished ports, anti-lag system, racing intercooler, racing air filter, racing silencer, racing exhaust manifold, racing brake pads, racing brake kit. I've gone for the slotted disc here, fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable racing transmission, and then obviously we've got a set of racing hard tyres, as well as the intermediates and the racing heavy wears. So on to the tune itself. We are obviously going to start off with the racing hard tyres, but just make sure you've got the others as well. We're going to run the fully customizable suspension, and the body height will be 90 and 130. Anti-roll bar will be 4 and 4. Damping ratio compression 35-35. Expansion 45-45. Natural frequencies 190 and 210. Negative camber angle 1.0 and 1.5. Toe angle is 0.05 inwards and 0.25 inwards at the rear as well. Obviously we're running the fully customizable LSD. I haven't changed anything here. It is 10, 40 and 20. Then we've got the fully customizable racing transmission, and we're not going to do individual gears. We're just going to set the top speed up to 310, and then we are going to run the fully customizable ECU with no output nerfing at all. Downforce at the front is going to be 25, and at the rear again is 112. Low downforce set up for Le Mans. Then we're running the high RPM turbo, the anti-lag set to strong. Then we've obviously got the racing intercooler, the racing air cleaner, racing silencer, racing exhaust manifold, the racing slot of brakes, the racing brake pads, and then if we go up here we have the racing clutch and flywheel. In terms of more permanent mods, it is bore up, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polished ports, high lift camshaft, racing crankshaft, and weight reduction stage 1, 2 and 3. Feel free to pause at any moment. So if it wasn't obvious enough already, this is more for the newbies. You're going to go into Europe, head over to France, Le Mans, and then you're going to enter the World Touring Car 700. So the strategy goes as follows. I recommend a single bit of traction control because this car does like to snap away. Obviously we are using essentially a straight line build, So I do recommend just kind of having that bit of traction on, just to, you know, keep the car a little bit stable through the corners. Obviously put the car in fuel mix 6. This is because we want to go as long as possible. In terms of fuel consumption, you can get 3 laps out of this before you need to pit for fuel or tyres, which is definitely an improvement over a lot of the road cars in this game. So fuel consumption is actually very, very good on this car. In terms of general tips and tricks, I recommend running the game on easy, purely because if you make a mistake, you don't want to kind of waste half an hour of your life because, you know, you decided to put it on hard difficulty and think that you wanted a challenge. We are purely here just to grind money. The clean race bonus, the only way you will lose it is if you overtake under yellow flags. Penalties mean nothing, hitting the AI means nothing, running off track means nothing. So the car itself, as you can see, we're running in fuel mix 6 and we're getting upwards of 190 miles per hour, nearly 200 by the time we get to the braking zone. You will see later on that when we do turn this engine up, the acceleration is like a rocket and the top speed is well over that 200 mile an hour. So with the high gears and obviously the low downforce, it essentially means that kind of gear 1 and 2 are completely pointless with this car. I do recommend, if you do want to kind of save some fuel, just only really using gear 3, 4 and 5. Don't bother kind of going too low because again you'll start using that fuel up if you're kind of over revving the car. And again, if you do want to kind of save that fuel and keep it going, make sure you just kind of short shift in. I find the optimum times is to kind of just fully rev up on 3, on gear 4 when you get halfway, change gear, and then obviously gear 5 is just the final gear in terms of running this car, so you won't need to kind of overly worry about that. It just kind of helps you kind of, you know, save some fuel and go for that extra lap, whereas a lot of road cars just don't. They'll be very quick to drink fuel. I was actually quite surprised how good this thing is on its fuel. So in terms of pit stop strategies, essentially what I wanted to do here was do 2 laps, hit the pits, and then try and do an extended 3-lap stint before, you know, taking a final pit stop until the finish line. And it did kind of work out like that, but I did kind of make a bit of a mess up on the final pit stop. That's because the weather was basically just teasing me and frustrating me the whole way through this race. When you get onto lap 2 though, I do recommend that you essentially watch your weather radar, zoom it out as much as you can and kind of monitor for any rain. The higher chances of rain coming is early on or really kind of last off. Apart from that, you won't see much usually in the middle of the race. Then we're going to pit in. I'm just going to speed this up. I'm going to pit in at the end of lap 2, go onto my hards, fill the car to full, and then I'm going to go into my longest stint where I'm doing a bit more fuel saving, only using those higher gears and kind of short shifting in and out of corners. It's definitely the best way to go if you want to do a 3 laps, you know, kind of stint. If you don't do that, you can guarantee you'll run out of fuel just at the end of your 3rd laps, which you know, let's be honest, you don't want to do. As you can see, we dropped behind the AI, but they were no problem. We've essentially got ourselves back up into 1st with a 10-second gap towards the end of the 3rd lap. As you can see, the rain is starting to come in. It's looking rather quite broken up, so I'm more than happy to just kind of sit around and kind of wait for it to move in. The rain isn't really going to move in though, well, not in the way you kind of expect it, as on lap 4 it starts coming from another direction, and again it's still quite broken up. There is going to be sort of splits of rain, but there's never any kind of heavy rain pretty much throughout this whole race, even when we've had a massive rain cloud, which you will see later on did really kind of throw off my strategy. So at this point I'm staying on the dry tires and just kind of cruising around, minding my own business. As you can see, this rain cloud again looking more and more threatening. So at this point I'm sat there thinking, well, what do I do? You know, do I go ahead and try and cover off on the inters, or do I basically stay on the dries? And as you can see, it's looking a little bit too close for comfort, and I'm actually going to make the mistake of going on to intermediates here when I could have stayed on the hard compound of tyre. So this is going to make my last few laps a bit of a nightmare because the track didn't actually wet up it kind of stayed bone dry. The rain started to shift over into another direction, so that was kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. You know, we've got enough of a lead, as you can see, 1 minute 41 when we go into the pits, and we're basically just going to extend that because the AI will have to pit again, because we actually had to do the extra lap because we were just a little bit too on the pace to be able to kind of sit and wait. Now I'm actually going to turn the engine up for this last lap, and you're going to see the actual power of this car. As you can see, it accelerates very quickly, and those high gear ratios really allow you to get a decent top speed of over 200 miles per hour, so it's definitely no slouch in a straight line, and that is what this car is built for. But after messing around and kind of getting caught out by the weather, we decided lapping other cars would be quite fun, so that's exactly what we did. I do like to you know, kind of include when I'm lapping cars at Le Mans because it doesn't happen that often. But we are done. We are finally going to be able to get ourselves across that line, even though the intermediate tyres are pretty much dead and gone at this point. But it's an easy first place in just over 30 minutes. If you do get the chance of it raining, then you can essentially do a stop and wait. Our fastest lap was actually a 4 minute 12 on lap 1, but Le Mans does not count that. As you can see, we had over a 2 minutes lead to second place, which means the pace of this car is very, very quick. So 30 minutes work and you're going to come away with 825k in probably one of the most versatile events in Gran Turismo history, in my opinion. You can use so many different builds at Le Mans, and it's always worth your time. So that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Big thank you to my channel members that, you know, keep supporting the channel. If you want to become a channel member, feel free to click that button. Thank you to everyone else that just kind of just drops in on the daily and just helps, you know, get these videos out there, and, you know, wants to kind of try new tuning methods. So again, cannot thank you enough, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers guys, peace.